You're listening to the Bulldog Insider podcast, sponsored by Essentia Health.
Here, our hobbies become our work, and our work becomes our passion. But when joint pain or injuries keep us from doing what we love, it can affect our entire way of life. That's why we meet these challenges head on. Whatever your good day looks like, we'll find it together. This is Essentia Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, like nowhere else. Visit essentiahealth.org.
Hello and welcome to the Bulldog Insider podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat writer at the Duluth News Tribune and the Rink Live.
And I'm Zach Schneider, the television voice of UMD hockey on My Nine Sports.
Welcome to part one of the season 4 finale of the Bulldog Insider podcast. The Bulldogs men's and women's hockey seasons have come to a close, and we thought it'd be boring and a little anticlimactic to just end season 4 with one episode. So in part one today, we have a crew who arrived on campus prior to the founding of this podcast. That's how long they've been around here. Part two will be hitting your podcast feed in the near future, and that'll be Bruce Siski, Zach, and myself answering the questions that you submitted about UMD men's and women's hockey, and we'll use that episode to cap off the 2021-2022 season. So let's get to part one. Joining us today are 4 seniors who've seen it all and done it all in their 5 years as Bulldogs. We're hoping a 5th maybe joins us at some point in the episode here. But these guys have won 2 NCHC Frozen Faceoff titles, played in 4 NCAA tournaments, reached 3 Frozen Fours, and they've won 2 national championships. Welcome to the podcast one final time as UMD students, and we'll run through it here. Defenseman Matt Anderson. Matt, welcome back to the podcast.
How you doing?
We have winger Koby Bender.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
We also have winger Koby Roth.
Happy to be here.
And 2-time NCHC Movember Championship goaltender Ben Patt.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can't tell now. I freshly shaved everything off. So working on regrowing it for the upcoming years, but looking forward to it.
And maybe joining us at some point in the podcast is defenseman Louie Roehl as well. Guys, before we take a look back at your careers at UMD, I want to go back to last Tuesday at XL Energy Center, a building that I wrote. You guys have pretty much owned the last 5 years, your class specifically. How much fun was it to go back to XL after winning another NCHC postseason title there, and you get to watch your captain, Noah Cates, make his NHL debut with the Philadelphia Flyers? What was that night like for you guys?
Super special. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. I mean, it was super good time for us. And then obviously super fun to watch Noah play. And I thought he played really well. So yeah, it was a great night.
Yeah, I agree. I think the warm up was probably my favorite part. Like everyone just on the glass there, and every time we would score in warm ups, we'd just go nuts for him. And it was a good atmosphere during that and the whole game. So it was a good time.
How early did you guys have to show up to stake out that corner of the rink? It looked like Stillwater had the other end, and you guys were able to get a corner for the team all to yourselves there.
I'm not sure how early we got there. Probably 20, 30 minutes to stake out the whole left side there.
Patter, was that almost the entire team you guys had down there to watch Noah? How'd this all come about? Because Noah signed pretty quickly with the Flyers there.
Yeah. No, the turnaround time was pretty quick. Yeah, it was every single guy except for one had I think it was a family issue going on and he couldn't make it, but everybody else on the team was there, which was so cool. I think that also speaks to like the culture and who we are as an organization, and us as our 5th years, like going through the whole 5 years, what we really wanted to bring to finish it with something like that really like expels who we are. You know, all of us being there, how many college hockey teams have done that, for their captain. And it did work out being in Minnesota and so close to us, but it was actually Zach State School and CK, our director of hockey operations, that put it together. So they kind of just talked about, I think it was started as a joke, like, hey, we should get a bus down to the game. And then a few of us were kind of like, this wouldn't be a terrible idea. We should try and put this into place. So Zach kind of took the reins on it, and the next day we met in the locker room and had a little bit of a team meeting with Sandy to close out the season. And afterwards we put together some of the logistics, and it worked out really, really well.
That was going to be my question, was about the culture and what that says about the program. It kind of personifies what we've been hearing you guys talk about now for 5 years. But Koby, Roth, we've heard from you over the last several weeks about how much this program and these 5 years have meant to you. Guys could have easily gone their separate ways, right? And gone on, to whatever classwork you have left this semester, gone on to thinking about your own professional careers, if that's an avenue you're exploring. But to have everybody fresh off the season ending like that, be able to get back together and celebrate Noah, that kind of shows what you guys have been about for 5 years, doesn't it?
100%. I think that shows the culture very well. I think the coolest part too is it was a no-brainer for everyone to go. Like we would have paid however much we needed to for everyone to go there and be there for Noah. So it was a really cool experience. I'm sure none of us will forget that moment. Neither will Noah. An awesome day for everyone. Like it felt like we all got to make an NHL debut with him. So it was really special.
Did Noah have any idea you guys were all doing this, or was this kind of a surprise for him?
Oh, he knew. We were kind of talking about it through the group chat. He was still a part of as well, and he so he knew about it. We didn't want to make it too much of a surprise either, because he already probably had the weight of the world on him. So we just wanted to support rather than surprise, I think.
That's probably a good bet. The smile he had on his face, that was the Flyers photo that they shared was awesome, and all you guys lined up there. Some of you guys in various Kate's jerseys. All right, let's talk about you guys. That's why we got you on the podcast one last time here. We're going to go around the horn here. Go back 5 years ago to when you first stepped on the UMD campus. And I know this is a long time ago. Going to have to go through some of that foggy braid. But go back to 5 years ago when you first stepped on the UMD campus. What do you remember about your first day as a Bulldog? Maddie, we'll start with you.
First day as a Bulldog, I don't know if it was the first day, but one thing I remember is, I'm pretty sure it was the first day, is we did slice like one-on-ones, or like where you pass it across, which is kind of a hard drill. And so we like did it or whatever, and I kept getting burned, and it was the worst thing ever. And Hertz came up to me and said, "Welcome to college hockey."
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. So that's what I remember. I think that was like one of our first skates. So that was fun.
Rother, how about you?
I swear I was actually thinking about the one-on-ones too. As soon as Maddie said that, I was scared of Wolfie personally going in the one-on-ones. That was my biggest fear at the time.
Bender?
I'll go outside of hockey a little bit. I think welcome week was just like starting when we got here, and that was back pre-COVID and stuff. So people were actually doing stuff and, outside and welcoming everyone. So I think like the atmosphere on campus was pretty cool, just seeing everyone out and about and hanging out. So
Patter, what do you remember about your first day?
I kind of have an interesting one. I told a few of the guys this the other day, and I don't know if I told this before, but one of my first days, unlike all these guys, they all kind of knew each other or knew of each other, and so like they were all buddies. I came in and no one really knew me, and I knew no one. So like Bender talked about that welcome week, you had to kind of sign up for welcome week activities. And when I talked to the coaches, they said we had to go to a specific few of them. So I kind of wandered over to campus. I think it was one of the first days. And I just tried to sign up for as much as the coaches like told me to. And I had no one guiding me. I had none of the other guys in really any of my welcome week activities, even though they were doing all of theirs together. So I was just trying to kind of see what I could get into. And this really nice guy who was probably one of the organizers kind of called me over and was like, "Hey, do you want to sign up for like a really cool welcome week activity? It's super easy, super fun. Like you'll love it. It's held in like this ballroom." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. How long is it?" And he was like, "It's 15 minutes, super easy, no problem." So I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll sign up for it." And so I think it was either later that day or the next day, I went to the ballroom and I walked in and I signed my name. And as people started to pile in, I noticed it was all girls. And we were in a dance studio. And as it continued for like the next like 15 minutes, because, I was there punctual, I was on time. And they all started to pile in. And I was like, I'm sitting in a room cross-legged in a ballroom with like mirrors, like it's a dance studio with like 35 girls. And the dance team comes up and they're like, thank you so much for signing up for like Dancing with the Stars or something. We're going to do a small choreographed dance over the next 20 minutes. So I'm sitting there trying to do whatever I can to get out of this, talking to this girl I don't know next to me, like, what are we doing? She's like, you don't know, you signed up for like one of the first dance things. And I spent the next 30 minutes learning a choreographed dance, doing a dance in the back, trying to get out of there and sneak out of there. And I walked out of that door and told myself, I ain't telling one of these guys what I just did. And I hope to never see any of these girls again. But that was one of my first terrible memories of being on campus, unfortunately. But I learned a good dance. Maybe I could perform it one day.
I feel like what you should have done at that moment, Patter, is you call the boys and like, guys, I just found a room full of 35 girls.
Yeah, well, it was so early. I didn't even have the guys' numbers at this time. I was a newbie. I crossed the border a day ago.
One of the cool things that I'm sure you guys have experienced last year and this year is as you get some of those stories yourselves and then go through obviously the team building and obviously the stuff on campus away from hockey, you get to be the mentors to the freshmen and the kids that are new to campus too. So do you remember from your freshman years who was the upperclassman that kind of took you under their wing? Was there a particular guy or a group of guys for those of you? Was it the captain, the leadership group that did it for you? Do you remember any of that from being a first year player here?
I thought all the guys older than me did a really good job. I mean, I thought Kars obviously did a good job too, like of really welcoming everyone and feeling and just introducing us to other people too. And I thought everyone really gelled quickly on that team and continued to stay close till right now.
So Rother's not the first person that's mentioned on this podcast that they're afraid of Wolfie. Was anyone else afraid of Wolfie when they joined the team? Apparently he came, he was only a sophomore at that time, I believe, when you guys were freshmen, but apparently he had a reputation from high school coming into college. Anyone else afraid of Wolfie?
Never afraid of Wolfie.
No.
No one else wants to admit it. All right. What is your guys' favorite on-ice moment from your 4 years as a Bulldog? You guys got multiple national championships titles. We talked about them earlier on. The common answer among your class has been that 17-18 title that you guys won in freshman. Has anything been able to top that in your 4 years? Patter, I'll start with you.
Yeah, and I know it's hard to remember, but it has been 5 years, Matt.
5 years, that's right, 5 years.
Yeah, I think that 17-18 obviously stands out for all of us. There was one specific moment when we talk about, mentors for me when I was younger or guys that kind of brought me under his wing. Nick Deary always used to make this joke, you're under my wing, as he used to help me out. But I remember standing on the blue line with him because obviously Sheppy was stealing the show as per usual. So we were kind of beside and we were standing on the blue line during the anthem. And I remember because we always go home of the Bulldogs. And when we were playing Notre Dame, obviously the crowd was full of Bulldog fans. And right before that happened, Deers was like, Patter, pay attention to this. And I remember hearing the 18,000-20,000 roar of Bulldogs and being in complete awe. And in that moment, being mindful of where we were and what was happening right before we ended up winning our first national championship. So that was something that is totally ingrained in my mind and probably will be for the rest of my life.
Bender, how about you?
Yeah, I'd have to say celebrating the 2 national championships was probably, I don't think anything can really beat that. But aside from like the championships that we won, I think the feeling that I had after the North Dakota game of it just being done and like winning that game is probably like one of the best feelings, just like a relief and like excitement for winning and going back to the Frozen Four. So I'd probably say that moment in particular was one that I won't forget.
Rother, how about you?
I'm going to choose the same one as Patter. Everything he said is 100% true. I remember that exact moment. I remember just standing there, like, especially as a freshman too, you don't know any better. And then, like, I remember just the national championship game. It seemed like it came so quick. Like, we just won a couple hockey games and all of a sudden we were in the national championship game. So I think when we were finally standing on the blue line there after the national anthem, when that whole arena started chanting, that was kind of a take it all in kind of moment. And it's definitely something I'll never forget. So it was cool.
What was the difference, guys, between the 18 title and the 19 title? So many of the guys that were part of both have told us that the 18 title was more special to them. Is it because it was your first one? Is it because it was in Minnesota? What separates it for you guys? Obviously, you'll win a national title anywhere that you can, and I'm sure the Buffalo one is special for its own reasons. But what makes the St. Paul one stick out maybe a little bit more?
I think, Zach, two things you just said for sure. Being in Minnesota, and then just the way it happened and the way Roehl touched on that, it was such like a Cinderella story where, you know, that 18 title, like we were the team to be reckoned with. Like we were winning. We knew we were winning that title the day we started playing our first game. And obviously what came with that, and you said it has a special in its own, but when we were, you know, sitting on that bus, watching these hockey games unfold after that NCHC tournament, to finally see, like, to understand that 0.001% to finally seeing, oh, did this team win? Yes. Did this team win? Okay, we have a chance. And to that unroll into getting back, everyone running into the dressing room to watch this final game, and the outcome of that game decide if we get into the tournament, and then to the next morning have a meeting saying, now all we got to do is win 4 games. To fast forward, it was this momentum that built into, no one could believe this hockey team just did this. And that emotion that came with it, I think was uncomparable within anything else. But so I think all of those variables combined made it so special. And yeah, it being in Minnesota and it being our first, those are just 2 more variables that add to it. Not to take anything away from obviously Buffalo too, because that has so many different special parts to it as well. But I think that's what really makes it that much more special for our first one.
I think record-wise, we were the worst team to ever win a national championship.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna have to go back and check the history books on that. You got in by the thinnest of margins, for sure. Maddie, what was that 17-18 your best on ice moment as well?
Yeah, I'd have to say so. I mean, obviously we've been blessed with tons of moments that were incredible throughout our careers, but yeah, definitely have to go with 17-18. I mean, it was very, very special.
All right, what's your guys' favorite off-ice moment from your time at UMD? And Maddie, we'll let you start this one off.
Off-ice moment? That's even harder. I would say a lot of just hanging out with the boys, going and getting sushi with Jared Thomas and Koby Roth and Shep every Tuesday. That was a good tradition there for a while. But just like honestly hanging out with the boys, just being around them, going fishing, or if it's just at a house or anything, just nothing compares to just the family that we have there. It's hard to pick just one thing, but I'm sure these guys will have good stories. I don't know.
Roehl, how about you?
I'm going to go with the pregame meals. Those are my favorite. I love those. Everyone for the game, getting your pregame meal and go take a nap, wake up and go to the game. But it's always just good vibes, good energy before in the pregame meal. So I'll go with that.
Mr. Koby Bender, how about you?
Pre-game meals are good. I was going to say like playing sewer and like the whole warm-ups before, just because we're always like staying loose and kind of messing around and having fun. So I think those are obviously super fun, and like probably won't forget those, and hanging with the boys. Everyone has like their own special thing that they kind of do with each other, and you know, it's fun. So those are awesome.
Patter, how about you?
Yeah, same as these guys. I guess, you know, you got to throw in sometimes after sweeping a hockey team and everybody getting together are some of the times that none of us will ever forget. And that's when guys really, really start to get closer. So on top of that, I'd have to say, and I think these guys would probably agree, one of the core ones I'll have forever was that experience with the team with Noah last week. Like that'll definitely be up there. Whether it's number one, I don't think there's any that's number one, but it's definitely one of the best ones. It was just a time where we all like on the bus going down, experiencing all that. It was absolutely crazy. It was something out of a movie.
You read about all the time some of these teams that are like yours that get together 10 years, 20 years down the road and do something similar to what you did for Noah. Maybe it's just going to an NHL game where you don't know anybody who's playing, or maybe you're going to go to somebody who's playing in their 500th or 1000th game. But this feels like a group that won't be the last time that you get together.
Definitely not. Definitely not. We're definitely gonna stay close for a long time.
Yeah, I think in my exit meeting with the big boss, Sandy was saying, he brought up a good point. He was like, and I think he talked to you guys about it probably too, but about like it being our fifth year anniversary of winning that national championship coming up pretty soon here. So we got to start maybe trying to figure out how to get that team together. But I think it's inevitable that our class will always be together and always be hanging out. But to get that whole team together, because they were talking about how important that 5-year reunion from winning the 18 national championship was, the way 2011 had their 5-year. They were telling me about, because 10-year rolls around and we start having families and those little things. I think they're called kids or something. I don't even need to start thinking about those, but those will start running around. Things get busy. So that 5 years is coming up pretty soon. We got to start trying to think about that.
Patter, if you come back for a 6th year, you could be the first ever college hockey player to have his 5-year national championship reunion while you're still in uniform.
I don't know if it'd be tough to bring me back for a 6th year. It's time to turn that page. My body won't let me anyways, so it's all good.
We'll harass Patter to come back for a 6th year a little later in this podcast again. We're just not going to give it up. All right, we're going to take a short break. You're listening to the Bulldog Insider podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
I'm McHatton.
I'm Jess Myers, and we are the co-hosts of the Rink Live podcast. We really pride ourselves on finding some unique guests and covering some of the topics of the day, not only in college hockey, but kind of across a broad spectrum.
We also talk junior hockey. We'll get some of that talk in there as well. Women's hockey, men's hockey. We try to talk to people from throughout the game and actually from all over the country.
And Mick and I are kind of OG the Rink Live guys. We were here from the start, about 3 years ago now when things got off the ground, but we brought a fair amount of college hockey experience to this job. I went to Minnesota Duluth. I covered college hockey starting then when I was a student. I've covered the Frozen Four 28 times, and I primarily cover the Minnesota Gophers now for the Rink Live, but dabble in a little bit of everything.
And I've covered St. Cloud State hockey. Now this will be my 12th season. So please check us out on the Rink Live podcast on Mondays.
Enjoying this podcast? Get even more Bulldogs hockey news by visiting Duluth News Tribune.news/support and take advantage of our limited offer for 3 months of unlimited news for only 99 cents a month. Get this offer now at DuluthNewsTribune.news/support.
Hi there, my name is Dan Williamson, and I am one of the hosts for the Duluth News Tribune Minute Podcast. Hear the most important news of the day, including weather and sports from Duluth, Minnesota, and from around the Northlands. Join me, as well as Barrett Chase, and our fellow reporters, as we take you through the local news you need to start your day. Episodes are released Monday through Friday and are available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for supporting local journalism.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm Matt Wellens, joined by Zach Schneider. What teacher or staff member at UMD had a dramatic impact on your time here? Patter, we'll let you start this one off.
I think all of us can talk about Stephen Castleberry. Me personally, I worked with him a fair bit, but he's the guy that acts as our middleman between, if there's ever a not so much a problem, but something that, has to be resolved through professors and the hockey side of things. He's always acted as that middle person for us. But I also had the opportunity of having him as a professor specifically just over the last summer. And he is the best guy, like the grandpa we'd all want. And he wants nothing but the best for each and every individual. And he doesn't care. He's at all of our national championships. He was in Pittsburgh. He was at, the Frozen Faceoff. He was everywhere. So his amount of support, both for us as hockey players and us as people, I think was hard to compare. So, that's a special thank you to him because he's a really special person. I was lucky to work with him.
Bender, what about go ahead, Maddie. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I definitely agree. Castleberry, great guy, obviously helped the boys out a ton, but I think I'd have to just go with Suze. I think Suze was obviously here for all of us too, but I thought she probably had the biggest impact on me. Just a great person to have around and just always there to talk to, and that's who I would definitely have to say is Suze.
Koby Bender, how about you?
Yeah, they kind of stole mine, to be honest. other than those two, I think like a teacher that I had, Tim Peterson was one of my favorite teachers. I had him in like 2 or 3 classes. So he was always good to me and always would talk to me after classes and ask how things were going and with hockey and life and stuff. So he was a really good teacher to me too. So
Koby Roth.
I'll go with, is it Trista Vucetich Anderson? I think is how you say her whole name. She was our yoga teacher, and then I had a class with her too. We usually had yoga just the first half of the year on Tuesdays, so we'd get to see her quite a bit. She's kind of like a second mom to me though too. Just someone whenever you're around her, kind of in the time where all of the boys all you're thinking about is hockey and you're grinding every day. She kind of got your mind off things, and she's always in a really good mood and made everyone happy. So yeah, she's made a big impact on my life for sure.
What's next in life for each of you? Any of you going to be continuing hockey, maybe something outside of hockey? Maddie, we're going to start with you since you're joining us from the podcast from a car with former Bulldogs goalie Hunter Shepard in South Carolina. What's next for you?
Yeah, so I'm down here for the rest of their season, which is only 5 games. So down here for 5 games and then flying back to Duluth, hanging out with the guys. So other than that, I don't have much planned. That's it.
So you're going to sign an ATO, or you're just fishing or trying to get both in right now?
A little bit of both. No, today's the only day we're fishing and then back to hockey. But yeah, I think it's an ATO. Yeah. For just playing 5 games and then they're out of playoffs. So, but they're on a heater right now. So
I always say, well, usually it's 4 years. You spent 5 years playing hockey in Minnesota. You deserve to go someplace warm now to play a little hockey. I remember Andrew Chernichin when he was playing at Northern. I think he might still be in South Carolina. He was sending photos from the golf course back to us in Marquette when he was down there. Koby Roth, how about you? What's next?
I want to continue to keep trying to play hockey for sure. I would be willing to go to Europe, so that would be for next year. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. But for sure, try to continue playing hockey here.
It's always fun watching the women's players that are playing over in Sweden. Sid Bratt's been posted some cool photos lately on Instagram. Europe sounds like a fun place to go when you're right out of college.
Yeah, go travel the world a little bit.
There you go. Bender, what's next for you?
I'm actually leaving in about a week to go to Bridgeport. I agreed to terms with them and should be signing here in the next day or two whenever I get the contract from them. So yeah, I'm signing the A with the Bridgeport Islanders. So
awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Patter, you're coming back for a 6th year, right?
No, I actually I just signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I should be heading down there. Why are you guys laughing? Why is that so funny? No, I'm finishing up my hockey career, so that was it for me. So bittersweet. Nothing but good memories and good times for the game. But I don't think it'll be the last time I'll be in the game. No, I'm gonna try and keep my toes wet as much as I can. I'm trying to find a way to balance and make a mix of a finance background and hockey, whether that's player representation or player wealth management. I'm looking at both avenues right now. So, and have my feet wet in both and just trying to decide where that best first spot will be, but definitely spend some more time in some ice rinks. I really just want to try and help these guys, to be honest. You know, I love being able to assist even my fellow teammates as much as I could with little things and advocate for them to help them, you know, improve in any way they can. And sounds cliche, but it's honest. So I want to try and be able to do that, you know, continuing through my life, and whether that's in helping with personal finance or helping with contract negotiation, it's something that I think would be really cool. And we have a lot of ties as Bulldogs within that area. So I'm looking forward to it. Try and stay close to these guys and follow their careers as much as I can and maybe help them along the way. So we'll see.
What degrees are all you guys? You guys had the chance. Patter, you're getting a master's degree here. What's everyone leaving with? Starting with Patter, what degrees are you going to come out of UMD with? Yeah,
so my undergraduate was in finance and supply chain management, and then I'm graduating in May with my MBA in general management here.
Bender, what degrees are you leaving with?
Yeah, my undergrad was in finance as well. And then our master's program, I'll be halfway done with Masters of Education.
Rother?
I'm doing the Master's of Education right now as well. And then my undergrad was comm and public health.
Maddie?
My undergrad, I got a BBA in entrepreneurship, and then I'm halfway done with Masters of Education as well.
That's awesome that you guys were able to get started on masters and Patter, in your case, leave college with 2 degrees as well. We'll do some quick hits here to close this out with the time we have left. I might know the answer to this one. If you could go into business with any current or former UMD teammate, who would it be and why? Maddie, I'll let you start this one off.
Patter's gonna be mad because he probably will go into business with this guy. But I have to say Sammy, because he definitely knows what he's doing, and he's just a smart guy, and he's a fun guy to be around. So I definitely have to say Sammy.
Sammy Spurl?
Yeah.
He was running that business while he was still playing, wasn't he? Didn't he start it when he was like a sophomore or junior here?
Patter might know more about that.
Patter, I'll let you respond here.
I don't know what to respond to, but yeah, I mean, he's him and I are actually working on something together as we speak right now. So I have a text from him saying something was done as of yesterday. So him and I have something on the horizon. So it's funny you say that. So if I were to choose someone, probably be him too. But he's doing really well. Him and his wife Lauren are they have their little dog. They just bought a new house in Minnetonka. He's working for Abbott, the like pharmaceutical company that does like some of the nose swabs. He just got a new role. He's killing it, and he's so entrepreneurial. It's unbelievable. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever gotten to talk to. So I take the on our new adventure, he's doing all of the back end, and I take the front end. So I'll be the one to talk to people. He'll be the one to do all that smart stuff. So I'll let him do that.
Patter's already in business with them. Koby Bender?
That's a hard one. I'd say Patter most likely would be my guy. We've been together for 5 years, and obviously he's a smart guy, knows how to talk to people. So definitely Patter.
Hey, thanks, bye. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Rother, how about you?
I'm going Patter for sure, 100%. One of the smartest guys I know. I mean, you hear him talking, sometimes I even know half the words he's saying. They're so intelligent. He's a hard worker. But yeah, no, for sure, Patter. Easy decision for me.
These two are angling for jobs after their hockey careers.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. I'll start working on something waiting for you when you get done.
Who was the best afternoon hockey league player from your 5 years? Maddie? Or Koby Bender's ready to answer.
Do the coaches count or no?
Oh yeah, the coaches count.
I would probably say Planner and Krause were always good. I can't pick one. Krause was there for an extra year with us, so maybe him. But yeah, those two were always good. They were always fired up to play after practice.
I never got the opportunity that I can remember being on Koby Roth's team, but he was always pretty good. He always whooped us pretty good. So I'd probably say Rother.
Patter?
Yeah, I got to agree with both answers only because they combined. Rother always was with the coaches, so I don't know. From what I can remember, he always got to play with the coaches, so they built some chemistry over time, and there was a few games where it was just kind of unfair. So I think them as a threesome even, and those coaches kind of took advantage though. Like they weren't doing anything all practice. Guys were gassed, and then they'd put on their Game 7 uniform and start going as hard as they can. But we loved it. It brought the competitiveness out of it. But yeah, I'd say. Yeah, Rother and both of the coaches had a pretty good stint over the last 2 years. That's for sure.
Rother, who is the best? And it's the AHL, so you are allowed to say yourself if you believe that. That's what Krause would say.
Honorable mentions are Derek Plant, Peter Krieger, Parker Mackay. But if I had to give a number one, I'm going with Adam Krause. He might not be the most skilled player out there, but he works the hardest. He's got an unbelievable shot. He gave it his all every game. It was just a pleasure playing with him through my time here. So definitely going to miss that. But Adam Krause is my number one for sure.
All right. We're running out of time here. I'm seeing which ones I want to throw out here yet for the last of the quick hits. We'll do this one last. If you could coach a level of hockey, youth, high school, juniors, college, or pros? What would you choose?
If I could get a pro job, I'd do that, right? Because you're making the money. But probably Pee-wees. I think Pee-wees would be the best level for me to coach. You don't have to. I mean, I guess I don't know. That'd be kind of hard too. There's pros and cons to every level, I feel like. So I don't know.
I'll say either college or high school. I feel like those are just the two like age groups where you can make the most impact with kids and stuff. So I'd say one of those two.
Rother?
I'd say younger kids probably. If I'm coaching, I'd like to do more of the teaching instead of it being so serious and kind of have fun with it and go that route. So I'd say younger kids.
Patter, how about you? Future goalie coach?
Yeah, maybe Brant and I go help Brant. I'll be the volunteer goalie coach. Yeah, no, I like all those answers. I'll say pro because no one said it because you make the big bucks. I'll say that.
I was gonna say Patter can take over for Brant when someone's got to give that guy a pro job here somewhere down the line as a goalie coach. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure to work with you guys all these last 5 years. It really has. I mean that you're always going to be a special group. I appreciate you putting up with me and the rest of the media and everything over the last 5 seasons. And Zach, I don't know if you have anything to add quickly to that.
No, guys, absolute pleasure getting to know you, watching you play. Thanks for taking us along. It was a fun 5 years, and best of luck to all of you in the future. We hope we get to be part of the reunion whenever it happens. But best of luck to you and whatever you're doing next.
Well, thank you very much to you guys too. Everything you do for us over the last 5 years, for the whole team. Sometimes it may go under the radar. You mean so much to this organization. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate everything.
Same as that. Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
As I said earlier, this is part 1 of the Bulldog Insider Podcast Season 4 finale. Keep an eye out for part 2 here, which will be hitting your podcast feed shortly. Bruce, Zach, and I will be taking your questions, including Kelly Hinsets that we did not get to the last time we did a Q&A podcast. We're going to answer all those to wrap up the 2021-22 season. You can find the Bulldog Insider Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and rate us. For more Bulldogs hockey coverage, visit therinklive.com and DuluthNewsTribune.com. Huge thanks to our sponsor, Essentia Health, for their continued support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast through all 4 seasons so far. Thanks to everyone for listening. Again, keep an eye out for part 2. We'll have that coming your way. Thanks for listening.